It was a time of innocence, a time when children played outside until the streetlights came on, and the biggest worry was getting home before dinner. Sycamore, Illinois, December 3, 1957. The air was crisp. The scent of pine and early snow hung heavy, and 7-year-old Maria Ridulph was doing what any child would do, playing in the quiet safety of her neighborhood. She and her friend, Kathy Sigmund, were on the corner of Center Cross and Archie Place, taking turns on a piggyback ride with a friendly young man they knew only as Johnny. This simple, trusting moment, a scene straight out of a Norman Rockwell painting, was about to shatter, becoming the prologue to one of the most enduring and controversial cold cases in American history. Remember to comment, like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss future episodes of the Calendar of Crime. Coming soon to Substack. Maria's friend Kathy stepped inside her house for a moment to grab a pair of mittens. She was gone for perhaps 5 minutes. When she returned, the friendly young man was still there, but Maria was gone. He told Kathy that Maria had run off home. Kathy, a child herself, accepted the explanation and went home. It wasn't until Maria's father, Charles Ridulph, went looking for his daughter that the alarm was raised. The search began immediately, a frantic, desperate sweep of the small town that quickly escalated into a national obsession. The disappearance of Maria Ridulph was not just a local tragedy, it became a national crisis. President Dwight D. Eisenhower even called the Ridulph family to offer his condolences and support. Hundreds of volunteers, police officers, and FBI agents descended upon Sycamore, combing every field, barn, and ditch. The case dominated headlines, a stark reminder that even the most idyllic American towns were not immune to the darkness. The only clue was the description of Johnny, a young man with a gap in his teeth who had been seen talking to the girls. 5 months later, on April 26, 1958, the hope that Maria would be found alive was extinguished. Her decomposed body was discovered by a mushroom hunter in a wooded area near the town of Galena, Illinois, over 100 miles from Sycamore. The discovery brought a grim finality to the case but offered few new leads. The investigation stalled. The man known as Johnny was questioned, but without a body of evidence, the trail went cold, and the case file was eventually relegated to the archives. For over 5 decades, the case of Maria Ridulph remained one of the nation's most heartbreaking unsolved mysteries. The town of Sycamore never forgot. Maria's family never gave up. The case became a symbol of the lost innocence of the 1950s. The original suspect, a 20-year-old man named John Tessier, had been interviewed and polygraph tested by the FBI in 1957, but was cleared based on a seemingly solid alibi. The fog of time settled over the details, making the prospect of justice seem increasingly remote. The breakthrough came not from a new piece of forensic evidence, but from a deathbed confession, or rather, a deathbed recollection. In 2008, Janet Tessier, the half-sister of John Tessier, contacted authorities. She revealed that her mother, on her deathbed, had told her that John had killed Maria Ridulph. Furthermore, Janet recalled a crucial detail. The alibi that had cleared her brother in 1957, that he was home sleeping, was false. She remembered her mother waking her up in the middle of the night to check on John, only to find he was not in his bed. The man known as John Tessier had since changed his name to Jack Daniel McCullough, and was living a quiet life as a former police officer and security guard in Seattle, Washington. Armed with Janet Tessier's testimony and a renewed look at the original evidence, investigators reopened the case. They found that McCullough's alibi, that he was traveling to Rockford to take a civil service exam, was shaky. The original alibi witness, his mother, had passed away. But the new investigation focused on the inconsistencies in his story. In 2012, 55 years after Maria's disappearance, Jack McCullough was brought to trial. The case relied heavily on circumstantial evidence, including Janet Tessier's testimony, the original identification of Johnny, and a photograph of McCullough from 1957 that showed a striking resemblance to the description. A DeKalb County judge in a bench trial found McCullough guilty of kidnapping and murder. It was hailed as a monumental victory for cold case justice, the successful prosecution of the nation's oldest cold case to ever go to trial. The victory was short-lived. In 2016, the conviction was overturned. A new prosecutor, DeKalb County State's Attorney Richard Schmack, reviewed the case and found compelling evidence that McCullough was wrongfully convicted. Crucially, phone records and a newly discovered sworn affidavit from 1957 placed McCullough 40 miles away from Sycamore at the time of the abduction. Schmack concluded that the original alibi was, in fact, true, and that the conviction was based on flawed testimony and a rush to judgment. Jack McCullough was released from prison. Today, the case of Maria Ridulph remains officially unsolved, a painful paradox of justice found and then lost. Jack McCullough maintains his innocence and has since sued the state. The controversy surrounding the overturned verdict has only deepened the mystery. Was the man convicted the true killer, or was he an innocent man caught in the crosshairs of a decades-old tragedy? The answer remains elusive, a ghost on the corner of Center Cross and Archie Place. The Disappearance of Maria Ridulph is a story about the devastating power of a single moment, the persistence of a family, and the complex, often frustrating nature of justice. It reminds us that, even after decades, the truth can still be obscured by the fog of time, leaving behind only questions and a profound sense of loss. Thanks for watching. Please comment, share, like, and subscribe for future episodes from the Calendar of Crime.